it is a toxic world out here. Hopefully the wind doesn't kick up again and I can keep on yammering at you about what I planted this year, why, and how you can help mitigate any concerns you may have in regards to food. Now, we do have our own property here, and there's our garden. As you can see, there are plenty of weeds up in the garden. I haven't done anything about it yet, but they'll be there when I am ready to be able to deal with it. I still need to till the perimeter. Again, I will link to my tilling video. I don't like to till. I prefer no-till as a concept. However, if I don't till the perimeter of the garden, I will not have any food because the tree roots will steal all of the water nutrition. Last year I tried not tilling for a year, the perimeter, and I faced consequences as a result. I didn't have as good of a harvest. My plants were thirstier, and it didn't go as well. So I have to do that. Now, I've shared before my makeshift greenhouse here in order to get a kickstart on things. This is super cheap. Use what you have where you can, do what you can, and if you are homeless, I even have an idea for you. Actually, if you say live in your car, live in a tent, etc., and maybe you're like me and you're chemically sensitive and you need to make sure you have food that you can actually eat and that doesn't make you sick. In that case, a lot of areas have basically shared plots where you can have an area of land that either you rent, or I'm sure that those areas have scholarships for situations such as, super low income, not having, a place to live, those sorts of things. If you can't afford a place to live, I think they're probably gonna, give you some grace as far as paying for an area of land. The problem with that, of course, is that who knows what the other people do that grow things there, but that's better than nothing. And or maybe you have a friend or a family member and you can grow even just some pots, that sort of thing. We have lived in apartments, and when we've lived in apartments, I've had pots outside growing various things. Hopefully the wind won't be too much of a problem here. And of course the wind is kicking up now. Alright, well, anyways, so I will speak louder and closer. So here's what I planted this year. Muskmelon here, you can see this is up. And the muskmelon seeds that I planted are from a muskmelon that I harvested during drought, and it was delicious. And so this is the muskmelon seeds here are seed saved. Cape gooseberry here, nothing came up. Those are not seeds that I saved. Yellow pear tomato, these here are seeds that I saved. There's another Cape gooseberry back there, nothing came up yet. Cheese pumpkin here, yellow pear tomato, got a couple up there. Yellow tomato, I think these two were just random packages of seeds that I had, and I do have lots of random packages of seeds, but I certainly prefer, things do much better when I plant them when I seed save. Also, I planted perennial ground mix. I just got that off of eBay. It's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. I never planted it. You can see it here. I generally don't have great luck with brassicas. I typically don't even try anymore. I don't know how well you can see it here, but there's this weird green, not sure how well the camera's picking it up. See the green there? There's this weird green fungus growing, you guys. It's been growing the past few years, came out of nowhere. It definitely impacts seed germination. So as a result, I planted more seeds of a lot of things because I figured I would need to, and you're gonna see the results of that here in a second. Golden midget watermelon. I specifically plant golden midget watermelon in this insane environment because partially my good buddy Bill Gates, Mr. Gates of Hades, who thinks it's a really great idea to block the sun. Well, golden midget watermelon, it's small, so that means it doesn't take as long to harvest, which means it doesn't take as many days of sunlight to give you fruit. Also, golden midget watermelon specifically it tells you when it's ready visually. One of the problems for a lot of us who garden watermelon is when to harvest. How do you know when to harvest watermelon? It's not as easy as a lot of people suggest if you actually do it. So that is one specific variety of watermelon I recommend. Not everything, but many of the things that I grow the same thing every year pretty much, specifically because of this reality that we are living in, which of course is very toxic. Let's see, we actually have blue sky today. You don't see that very often. It's still kind of hazy, you know, not like it used to be, but not a lot of lines in the sky like it usually is. But one of the reasons that I plant a lot of varieties is because they come to fruition faster. They don't require as many days of sun as other varieties. There are tomato growers here in Indiana in, I think it was 2021, where they weren't sure if they were going to even get a tomato harvest because the so-called wildfire smoke had caused so many overcast days, had blocked the sun so effectively that the tomatoes weren't ripening. I, however, was getting tomatoes from my garden because I was growing primarily cherry tomatoes. And I'll show you those cherry tomato seedlings that are up here in a minute. So I strongly recommend cherry tomato seedlings. Save your seeds from whatever does well for you, and then plant them the next year. Now the tomato seeds that I plant, as I've shared previously, are from my ferments. I ferment tomatoes, and that is how I store them over the winter. We still have fermented tomatoes, and it's April 4, 5, 6, 7th, I think, ish. And we still have fermented green beans and I think a couple of other things. So that is, once they're done, once I'm done with a jar of tomato ferments, which I will link to my post on how I ferment them. What I do is I basically rinse the seeds with cool water and let them dry, and then they're fine. For later, that's for spring tomatoes. For tomatoes later on in the season, I will just take the whole fermented thing and dump it in a tray of soil, and I'll get a whole bunch of tomato seedlings. So another thing that I planted, I've never planted before, is Caucasian spinach. You can see there's actually some up here, there. I don't think it's come up elsewhere here. And I forget if I think Caucasian spinach is a perennial, but I don't remember. So don't quote me on that. But I am happy to see that I've got at least 3 of my perennial greens mix seeds up. Actually, there's 4. There's another guy, little guy there. Muncher cucumber, I just planted some because I had a package of them. And this year I probably won't save my lemon cucumber seeds because I have so many from last year. So, but I just had some, so I just planted them. Cow wonder pepper. I never have luck germinating pepper seeds ever. But I had some, so there you go. I also had some lamb's quarter seeds back there, and they aren't up yet. We'll see if they come up. What else do I have here? American spinach. None of that is up yet. We'll see if it comes up. Good King Henry, another perennial green, which we'll see if it comes up. And then I have this Crambe maritima, which doesn't look like any have come up, but look, some have been stolen. See that? So it's possible that there aren't any that will come up, because it's possible there aren't any seeds in there now. And of course, as I've shown previously, this is just scrap wood. These are plastic storage totes, plastic containers. I also use buckets. I'll have buckets on the other one over there. And then this is greenhouse plastic, and then more scrap wood that I use to weigh stuff down. I put it on top of landscape fabric. And usually I have some concrete blocks in there. I've got a concrete block in the other one, which I'll show you here in a second. Now this entire tray here is my Long Island cheese pumpkin, which may be crossed with butternut squash. So I could have some butternut squash in here. I could have some butterkins. Now, as you can see, they are rather leggy. However, they're going to be fine. They're going to be all right. A lot of people kind of freak out about leggy plants. Yeah, I don't want that, but I also need food. And I had to bring them in. Actually, yesterday I had to bring them in about 3 p.m. because I just wasn't feeling, actually I was in anaphylaxis, so I needed to be done with my day. And so they've been in more than I would like, but I have to protect them from the frost. So they're going to be planted very soon on the south side. They do, my Long Island cheese pumpkin and my butterkins do really well in my garden on the south side of the house. Which I will link you to the category on our website of gardening things. This tray here is all Siam basil. I was having trouble, I thought, with germinating a lot of things, and so I planted a bunch of these seeds because we eat a lot of basil for pesto. I freeze a lot of pesto. And we have that on our pizza every Friday night, which is something nice to look forward to after this stupid world every week. And so as you can see, it is here. It is announcing that it is here. So I'm very happy about my basil. These here are, as you can see, my tomato plants. These are my cherry tomatoes. These are saved from ferments. So I thought again that I was having a lot of trouble with germination, and it turned out that I just needed to wait a little bit longer because look at all of the seedlings I have down there. Now, all right, we got more here. Eggplant. You can see eggplant's doing great. Yeah, none of my eggplant seeds came up thus far anyways. We'll see about that. I don't have high hopes at this point in time. I also planted some white scallop bush squash. I generally plant vining squash, but I just kind of felt like planting some this year, so that's what I'm doing. I usually don't plant zucchini, quite frankly, but I was going through my seeds because I love to play with seeds. I love seeds so much, and I came across this Trombosino climbing zucchini. Woo, climbing zucchini. And I'm surprised. The seeds are pretty old. I've never planted it before. I've never actually grown it, but I bought the seeds a good 6 years ago or so. And I am excited to see what climbing zucchini looks like here. I'll find out, huh? And then we have Hale's Best cantaloupe. This is cantaloupe. That is from an actual seed package. Again, I bought those a while ago, years and years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago again. But I had them, so I planted them. And again, another one in that same class, Boston pickling cucumber. Those are growing. Butternut squash. These butternut squash seeds here were ones that I saved from my butternut squash, so they could be crossed with my Long Island cheese pumpkin. If you have problems growing butternut squash or other types of squash or pumpkins, what you need to do is keep experimenting and seeing what will grow. I thought that I could not grow pumpkins, you guys. I was certain I could not grow them. And then one year I went, you know what? I'm gonna plant some Long Island cheese pumpkin. I've never planted it before. Let's see what happens. And I've obviously planted them every year since, and we're good buddies. We are really good buddies. So there's that. And then I have these beefsteak tomato seeds cups where I planted them, and as you can see, they are not doing so great. They are ones that I seed saved probably a few years ago. We've got 3 that are coming up in the cup. No wait, here's a 4th one coming up. There's a teeny tiny guy right there, very little fella right there. So we'll see about that. And then finally I have my tray here of lemon cucumbers, which I planted 2 seeds in every cup, and it looks like almost all of them came up. So I have obviously amazing germination rates from seed saving my lemon cucumbers. And like I said, I went ahead and planted some things this year that I normally wouldn't have planted, like some other varieties of cucumber, because I don't want to cross them with my lemon cucumber, because my lemon cucumber is just so awesome. And I did the same thing with, some squash types. But I got so many seeds from last year that I'm good. I'm not concerned about seed saving this year for those two things. So, and here is my other setup. Again, it is not pretty. And I don't pretend that things aren't a mess here, but I am growing food. As you can see, my garlic and I were such good buddies. Look at my garlic, you guys. I don't think my garlic stopped growing all year last year. So awesome. Garlic is so awesome. Good job, garlic. You are so good. I like you so much. We're such good buddies. And the thing is with my garlic, I don't do anything but mulch it and plant it and harvest it. I might water it maybe twice, besides initially watering it after, I water it on and off for a couple weeks probably after I first plant the bulbs in the fall, but that's it. And oh man, garlic is so awesome. Okay, and then I've got these two pots here. These two pots I plant red flowers in. There's some red flowers, like literally the packet said red flowers, and as you can see, the flowers are dead from last fall there, and I saved the seeds, and I've got the seeds in there, and I'll plant those. So there are, just do what you can where you're at. You aren't gonna go from not growing anything to growing what I grow and having all of these trays and all of these plants overnight. And you have to start somewhere, though, if you want to, if you want to grow your own food, or at least have some sort of food security in that manner, then you have to start somewhere. And so if it's just a couple of pots on a patio, then it's a couple of pots on a patio. But you have to start somewhere if you want to. You just can't. One warning that I have, obviously, is not expecting to go from, I've never grown anything in my life, to, I'm producing half of what my family eats in a year. That's not realistic. And the most important thing to remember is to experiment and to maintain hope and to know that there are options even if you don't have land to work. So, and even if you don't have this is not an ideal setup. If you don't have an ideal setup, neither do I. Join the club. This is super cheap. The primary cost for most people is going to be the greenhouse plastic, and the seeds and the soil, and, the cups. But as far as the actual makeshift greenhouse goes, it's primarily the cost of the plastic. There are local Facebook, I know, but there are local Facebook groups you can join if you need materials for things. Some landlords will allow you to put in some raised beds or put in a garden or do those sorts of things. Local groups on Facebook and groups like Free Cycle, those sorts of things. Next door, you can post. All of those places say that you're wanting to grow some food, but you need some help with getting XYZ. Does anybody have any extra XYZ? Even seeds. Some people like me to save seeds, and it doesn't cost me anything to save seeds. But as I've shared in a previous video recently, I'm no longer allowed to sell the seeds that I save. I face monumental health challenges, and I look at what I've done. You guys, look at what I'm doing. You can look at the videos that I've shared in previous years, that despite all my health challenges, I am good friends with my friends' plants, and we are partners in this stupid, toxic world, me and my plants, including my awesome garlic, which I'm always talking about. And in spite of the challenges, I'm still getting food. My plants are providing oxygen for me to breathe, and they're providing food, and they're happy. So do what you can where you're at. And until next time, non-toxic out.